Yeah, our name, Zoller, that was sort of Americanized too, is it the same? It would
Well,
be like,
Z-O-E, it probably at one point had umlauts
Or was it,
over the
without the
O,
E?
yeah, Zoller. And I don't know exactly what the meaning of the word is. Usually they're tradesmen. A zoll is a tax, so a zoller would be a taxer. Maybe, you know, tax
yeah,
official
okay.
would be my guess.
Huh.
Because that zoll is the tax, toll.
Hmm.
The tolls, but in all degrees, it's a tax.
That's it, and giving back the name.
Yeah. So that's where the word toll, you know,
Mhm.
originated, Germanic.
Zoll.
Zoll, the toll, yeah, the toll booth, the toll man, or...
What was Markle?
Markle doesn't have a real, their English translation. Dad said that it was in the building trades. I can't remember what he quite said about it. It was something to do with when you use the when you what's that telescope they look to? They sight land and
Oh, the surveyor's
survey,
tool,
yeah.
what did they call it?
surveying. Yeah, it had something to do with land surveying. It was marking maps. Oh, it was Markle. It had something to do with that.
Okay.
He thought, you know.
Hmm.
Of course, Uncle Markle was a big blowhard character in the family, and Dad's uncle.
Right, Oprah's uncle.
And Doris said I should be careful because I will become him. I haven't published that already.
What was his first name?
Andrew.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that who Andy's named after?
I guess he was a lovable man, a nice guy, but he loved to tell stories.
I just remember hearing Uncle Markle and Tante
Yeah,
Markle.
Auntie Markle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had to.
I didn't know their real first names.
Yeah, her name was Pauline.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. You had to take at face value some of the stories he told.
Mm.
He loved storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for instance, in the First World War, he claims he was a cavalryman and shot down by the, he saw Dad's father killed, his brother, killed with a shot in the head. He was riding cavalry next to him and killed by the Ukrainians in the big battle of Ukraine, which he was involved in that battle somewhat, Uncle Markle, but he told Doris and me at Grandma's house one Christmas they stopped over. He said, yeah, my hand's bad again in the cold weather. You know, I got I had my hand all machine gunned, you know, by the Ukrainians, the Kashups, they called them, the gypsy tribe of the Ukrainians, the worst. He said I had it all shot up, you know, in the war over there. And then they got me on a ship out of there in the Black Sea and got me to America then eventually. And none of it made sense. Dad kept rolling his eyes. And he said, I was on the deck, sleeping on the steel deck in the middle of winter. It was a troop ship, and the British had, and we weren't even belonging on it, but we were their friends because we were killing the Russians too, you know. And he went on and on with this wild history. He had his hand all wrapped in newspapers for Band-Aids. That's all they had then. He came to America with his hand all wrapped up in bloody newspapers, and then when he left Europe, he was on the troops that wanted to get out of there finally would stop at the farms, and they were given chicken blood to drink for healing. Always raw chicken blood. They always talked about chicken blood.
Yeah.
To Doris and me, and that he had in the cavalry what was known as captain's rank. It's a term we don't use in cavalry, but he was high, moving up in cavalry, horseback. You know, Dad said later he said he never sat on a horse in his life. You know, it was all. But he would tell Doris and me these
Stories.
yeah, he was a big hero.
So did he live in Hammond also?
Gary.
In Gary?
Yeah, where Michael Jackson was born. He worked in the steel mills. They had an old apartment there. A nice brick old building that they rented all their lives. And he worked in the steel mills as an overhead crane operator. I mean, way up high inland steel. And they were roaring in those years.
Yeah.
After the war, the 40s he was there, the 50s, 60s.
Think of all the building that went on in Chicago around that time.
Yeah. And then he would come to Hammond to go to Coon's clinic, an eye clinic, the only one around, because in the overhead cranes, he kept getting smoke. His eyes were constantly irritated. That massive crane back and forth, 4 or 5 stories in the air, and all that smoke would go up there, you know. He was a character.
And they did not have children, right?
He had an illegitimate child in Germany, this, the family says, you know, before he left as a soldier. That's what, I think Doris knows the story on that one. But whether it's true, we don't know. But Mom heard it from Tante Marco and from Auntie Marco, and I think told Doris some story about Uncle Marco over there. He was a womanizer. And this is a private family joke, but Doris and I were homesick with strep throat. I think it was one day from school. It was a Friday, and Friday's the day he came to Coon Clinic, or Thursday, you know, for his eyes. And he rang the bell and knocked on the door, not knowing the kids were home. And Mom saw his car parked. He would park it 3 doors down or so, you know, for some reason, but we don't know why. And she looked out the side window of the porch and saw that car, and he kept knocking and knocking and ringing the bell. And he was in love with Mom. His only dream of his whole life, and he told everybody in the family this, was if he could just dance once with Margaret. He just wanted to dance once with her. You know, he prided himself on dancing, I guess. So, I can't remember what happened. I think I was upstairs rebuilding an electric crane, homesick, and then Doris and Mom, I think, were in the back bedroom hiding. And I came down and just opened the door. He was still there, and I think I was the one that opened it. I didn't know who it was. And he said, "What, you're home?" Real shocked, right? And I said, "Yeah, Doris and I are sick today." And then Mom had to come out, you know, like she was in the laundry room or something. And she was even a little afraid of him. I mean, he was a nice guy and rather handsome man, but she didn't know why he was there, you know, and it was a work day. First time he ever did that. So Doris claims, I think I went back upstairs, and Mom wanted her to stay with her or something. And Doris went in the bathroom for a minute or something, and came out. He was chasing Mom around the dining room table. He said, "Margaret, just one dance," and he's running around the table behind her.
Oh my God.
Is what the story was known as.
My goodness.
Never got back to Dad because he would have killed him. He would have shot him or something. But that was an odd story in the family history. And he was a big old bird, you know. And chugging around the dining room table, just wanted to hold her, he said, or something. He had the hots for her, you know.
Oh, crazy.
I guess that was the story.
Okay.
You could bring it up to Doris once in private,
Yeah.
you know, not with the girls around or what, about when Uncle Marco, we were homesick and he stopped over. I think I was the one that opened the door by accident. I can't quite remember if it was open then or what, but.
And he was older, right?
Yeah, he was 10 years older than Dad.
And Opa was 10 years older than Oma.
Yeah. He claimed that he brought Opa over here, he signed for him, and that Opa owed him $850 for years, because Dad had to have some kind of money value as an immigrant or something. And Dad said, you know, it would make Dad so mad, that story. That he brought him over, he was responsible for Dad's good life. And Dad was a heck of an engineer, built beautiful homes in his house and everything. I mean, bought the showpiece of our town in those years, the old house. And he couldn't live with the fact that his nephew did so well. But he was, you know, a teacher at Purdue University Extension in engineering and an engineer. He always double jobbed everything, you know. And then later on, Graham helped him invest in apartment buildings from her old the state, and he fixed them up and would sell one and then get another one, and he had two old apartment buildings. And he and I always maintained them. I mean, I was doing maintenance work with hanging storm windows 2.5 stories in the air when I was 15 years old. You know, heavy wooden ladders and all that. And he wanted me to learn that, you know, all that. Work in the boiler room and all
So
that.
we should do Kevin.
Work we did. But, what was I gonna tell you about?
Maybe he was older, that Oprah.
And he claimed that Oprah always owed him that $800. Dad said, I think it was $260 or $320 or something he had to have to sign papers and all that. And he said, I paid him back within a year out of my job. He said, I didn't want to owe him anything. Dad was that way. He never would owe anybody.
Right.
And Uncle Mark always claimed it was $800, and he brought it down to $400 finally. And he'd tell friends that he was such a benevolent man, he let them drag it out. Would infuriate Dad, you know. I mean, he definitely had some character flaws going on there, you know?
Oh my goodness.
Character. And I've got old books and pictures of them too on the laundry room floor. They were in my shed getting mildewed. They were in Dad's basement over here. And there's, I think, one of them, he looks like a cavalryman on a horse.
Yeah.
And they're ancient pictures. There's one of when they were raised in Romania, you know, as children. Born here, Dad was, you know, and his brother, but raised over there. The parents went back because the grandfather died, so they wanted to help on the farm again.
Where was he born here?
Huh?
Where was he born? Pennsylvania.
Yeah, in Sharon.
Yeah, Sharon, Pennsylvania. Right, that's our connection.
And then he came back. He didn't want to live over there. What?
Kevin has a German relative around that same time period
Really?
in Pennsylvania.
Not in Sharon, though.
I'm not sure.
Her name was Elizabeth Markle.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. The name.
Remember the night after our wedding, we were going through a book at our kitchen table with Doris and Cliff,
Yeah.
my grandmother put together.
Yeah.
So when my grandmother first gave that to me, I had just started dating Heather. And so my grandmother was, you know, focused on genealogy. She's like, so what's your maiden name? Or, you know,
Sure.
she said Markle. She said, oh, I think we have a Markle in our, you know, she's looking back and
Is it
She
fun?
says in Pennsylvania, and I said, oh, I think my grandfather lived in Pennsylvania.
so then I'm, of course, saying, let's stop right there. I don't want to find out that Heather's like my cousin or something.
Yeah.
But you called Doris, right? And
I
asked
did.
about
Yeah.
history,
Yeah.
whatever.
That,
But I think there were different parts of Pennsylvania.
Well, we weren't sure.
well, they say once you're a Pennsylvanian, you're related to everybody.
I think the jury is out. If it's the same
That's funny.
decade, same state, it's kind of
Yeah.
same last name, from Germany.
I never met too many Markles.
Funny.
There was a Markle teacher. Where did I meet her? Or was it in North Carolina here? I met one gal. Oh, no, Michelle Siegelman, or what's her name? She
Siegel.
was Markle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Originally, her whole family, Markles.
Hmm.
She couldn't get over it. Or was it E.L.? It could have been the same spelling.
I don't remember. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was a Markle. Michelle. Michelle?
Yeah, it was Michelle, right?
But, you know, I don't know. Doris is the family historian with more anecdotes and anecdotes,
Mm-hmm.
stories, tales, and a lot of notes.
I'd like to do a family tree with Aunt Doris.
She has a lot of information from David Norris. He was my second cousin and was a pretty prominent builder, a contractor in China, in Beijing. He and his firm, David headed up one of the largest buildings built in Beijing 20